Hello everybody. Hello, welcome to the channel. It is July 18th, 2025 and the time is 3:47. We're going to tap in and get a message for the collective. Message for the collective, please, Spirit. Storyline for the collective, please and thank you. Please and thank you. Strength and courage. All right. In the central energy. In the central energy for the collective, what do we got? Spirit, Holy Spirit. Celebration. 3 of Cups. Friendship, community, entering a happy time. In the challenge position. We've got the Empress reversed. So you're entering a happy time, but you're challenged by Empress reversed energy. Codependent, selfish. They're feeling overwhelmed right now. They may have received some kind of a backfire, given them some kind of anxiety. They don't know what to do because whatever they did is coming back on them, perhaps. In the subconscious. The Chariot. You've got a victory here. You're about ready to leave. You're about ready to take off. Get right out of that mess. Getting ready to depart. In the recent past. Ten of Pentacles. An inheritance. You've been blessed with abundance. Intentions and expectations. Queen of Pentacles. A supportive parent, a supportive divine feminine, financially assisting. Projects. Nurturing stability, something that brings stability. In the near future. Well, that came out and flipped in the... Ooh, that came out and flipped into the reverse. We've got 2 of Cups reversed. Somebody got let go. Broken communication. Broken communication. Whoever these people were, they can no longer communicate. It's like their telepathic senses or something got cut off. Like whoever this is, they can no longer communicate telepathically with somebody is what it looks like to me. Their communication system has been busted. Got some tension going on. The lens that's being looked through is the 2 of Wands. Travel. In the environment, we've got hard work, 8 of Pentacles. You're laying the groundwork for something. Hopes and fears. High Priestess. Sacred wisdom that you can trust. Divinely guided. Divinely guided. This means that the work that is being done is according to divine will, rather than shady, low vibrational disharmony. You're actually going to be doing something productive, and which produces some nice results according to the divine. And the outcome, what's the outcome, please, Spirit? Nine of Wands. You're standing firm. You're holding your boundaries firm. There's a magician here that has been doing some routine hard work, and the King of Swords has mental clarity regarding this Ace of Pentacles, regarding this abundance. This Knight magician, I think, is being disconnected because they were bringing conflict to a Temperance angel. Singular or many, take it as it resonates. This is the completion of a cycle for the sun. The wheel turns. Rebirth. And those who are bringing illusion and confusion are receiving the law of cause and effect. Justice is being served. Feels nice here in front of the fan. Sorry for the noise. So we got to celebrate entering into a happy time. Oh yeah, because you've got the victory and you're in your chariot. You're moving forward. You're moving forward. Oh, and we've got nostalgia. A return to happy times. There's a healing of the wounds of the past, perhaps. Challenge is the Empress reversed. Empress reversed. We got the Three of Wands here. This could be an enterprise. The challenge is what we've got. The Empress reversed. Codependency. It's like overseas. It's an enterprise. It's worldwide. This could be the first stages of completion regarding this codependency. You're in your chariot, you're moving on. Yeah, it looks like they're getting the Eight of Cups left behind. Strength. So you got a victory, a strong victory here. You're focused, you're ready. 10 of Pentacles, inheritance, domestic love and support. Nice things happening. A home, a union, a family, stability, blessings pouring in. 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles. A life of luxury, coming into the fruits of your labor, your reward for all this hard work you've been doing. Queen of Pentacles, you're wise, you're supporting some venture. Look, we got Queen of Pentacles out twice. Intentions and expectations. This is a nurturing parent, providing financially. It could be whatever your inheritance is, whatever the Most High has blessed you with. It's like you're going to be investing in enterprises. You're going to be investing in the bigger picture. We do have a Two of Cups in the reverse here, so there's broken communication here with the Hierophant. Those who were bringing disharmony to Two of Cups unions, who were causing domestic violence. I heard that earlier. There is a domestic violence thing. So those who were driving people into domestic violence, into disharmony, it's like they're getting disconnected, or they were disconnected. They're dealing with the Most High right now. Broken communication. Could be that those who were making it difficult for partners to understand each other, maybe they're having to deal with the Most High. We'll get more clarification. We got the Two of Wands here, so your goals are attained. There is a reconciliation of sorts. This is a there's travel plans. You got your victory right there. Somebody's in regret. They've lost you. They failed. They're in grief because you're leaving. Eight of Pentacles, hard work, diligence, mastery, death. The end of a cycle. You're working real hard to end this cycle. It's over. We got the High Priestess here. High standards. We've got Prince Charming, Knight of Cups. So the High Priestess may be looking at romantic proposals to make certain that they're not this. High Priestess is right there. The Hierophant is right there dealing with that stuff. You got the Nine of Wands here. Strong boundaries. strong boundaries, resilient. They may be protected. So there's some action going on, fast thinking. Somebody wants to try to defend themselves or whatever. You've got this gift, this charity. So people are coming forward. They think that they deserve your charity. They're trying to defend their beliefs, why they've been such a bunch of buttholes. They want to take part in your generosity, but they're getting cut out. They're in poverty. 5 of Pentacles, they don't get what belongs to you. And you've got the King of Wands and the King of Cups here. They're passionately and lovingly making certain that this new beginning is good, is happening. And again, we've got love, union, balance, leaving home. Everybody's going to come into their unions soon, it looks like. We've got some recuperation and rest. You might be alone right now, but there are plans to leave home and to come into union. So it looks like the spiritual unions will be manifesting in the physical at some point. You've got your, look, 9 of Wands again. You're victorious. This is public recognition, and there is celebration. Celebration. Queen of Wands is working with a team, calling judgment. On making difficult decisions based on the Rejuvenator. And very swiftly, we've got the Chariot again. Very swiftly, you will be departing the devil, who is in fear of these 2 of Cups unions, or the lovers, because they're being bound. They're being restricted from accessing the love of the Divine Feminine, because they were causing illusions, challenging Divine Feminine, who persevered with the truth and with love. And the wheel turns, and we've got the Sun here bringing justice, the Emperor. The Sun bringing justice, the law of cause and effect. People are getting whack-a-doodled. Whack-a-doodled. And we've got the Ace of Pentacles, abundance. Now this card came out, but it came out like this. And what it is it's the 4 of Pentacles. So it's upside down in the deck. So that's the foundation, right? And it came out upside down. So it's like there's no more foundation for those who were presenting, you know, brutal betrayals of Divine Feminine. You're leaving. You got the King of Swords here. He knows the truth about it. He's got mental clarity. He's taking you home, Empress. Taking you home. And he's moving you away. You're leaving this behind, this conflict. Those who are bringing you conflict are in a freaking tower. A freaking tower. And they can't stop thinking. They're looking for new ways of communicating. It's like they lost their gifts. They lost their gifts. And this High Priestess has the 4 of Wands and the 10 of Pentacles. So yeah, she's bringing it all home. It's all, she's collecting it all. Years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, there was that song, I will stand by while you find what you lost, or something like that. So this High Priestess, this Hierophant has been here with, standing by. this high priestess, while she reclaims everything that was stolen from her, and she's bringing it home. She's bringing it to the new foundation. Those who were brutalizing Divine Feminine and stealing the gifts via sacrifice and betrayal, they're getting the return of their desires and intentions and actions, and centuries have gone by, so they really committed to being that way. You can't say, well, I didn't know. No, you cycle after cycle after cycle, people chose to continue in that behavior. They chose to continue betraying love of the true Divine Feminine. Why? Because they wanted this. They wanted this Empress reversed. So they betrayed the High Priestess. So there's a celebration here and a nostalgia. There's a celebrating about a return to innocence, about a healing, a rejuvenation, age regression, coming back together, innocent friendship that actually wants to support each other rather than tear each other down or compete. Empathy, caring, harmony. It could be that there is a celebration because the history is looked at, and somebody, whoever was messing around, they've got to surrender their need to control. They're under judgment. Somebody's under judgment for what they've done in the past, and so there's a celebration here. You got the Empress here, so they need to surrender their need to control. They're full of anxiety. Whatever they've been doing, I don't know. We've got an Enterprise. This Empress reverse could have been like spread out throughout the world. Well, that didn't work out. We got grief. Grief. There may be an expansion of grief. They're making preparations. There's a worldwide grief because you have your freedom. They're in grief because you have your freedom. They have to surrender their need to control you. These people of the past. You've got a victory. You're in your chariot and you're very strong. You're leaving. There's nothing they can do to trap you. You're very strong here. We've got abundance in the reverse. So they could not take your abundance. You were too strong. They didn't get it. You've got your 10 of Pentacles and your 9 of Pentacles here. It's the fruits of your labor. You aren't mean to anybody. We've got success in the reverse, and we'll need to get clarification on that. You're coming into the reward of your labor. I got to put this back because I don't know if it's supposed to be in the upright or the other way. Failure in the reverse. So they were not successful. You've got your 10 of Pentacles. You've got your 9 of Pentacles. Somebody was not successful in moving against you. They could not cause you a failure. You've got Queen of Pentacles here times 2. So there's a lot of stuff happening here. There could be 2 Queens of Pentacles, or you're just all that. We've got those who were messing around, causing disharmony, distrust, you know, infidelity, imbalance, breakups, domestic violence. That's in the court right now. I heard it earlier on the way home, actually. So I believe that God is looking at these guys regarding domestic violence. We got gratitude in the reverse. They have no gratitude. They're not thankful for life. They don't have any value in it. They hate love. They hate loving union because there's no love in them. They don't think anybody else should be able to have it. There's a reconciliation and somebody is in grief over it. You're leaving home. Somebody's in grief. You're taken off. You're in your chariot. They could not take your abundance. And you're taking all of your abundance and all of your energy and all of your friends, or at least God is claiming you and moving you away from this. So we've got friendship and humor. You've got friends, they're true friends who look on the lighter side of life. Somebody is, maybe their friends are laughing. Their friends might be laughing at them. We've got a lot of hard work here. It could be that your mastery is bringing about an ending to this cycle in the environment. There's death. It could be literal death, or it's just the end of a cycle and a transformation of the environment. What was, like the environment, the 3D environment might soon be going through some pretty significant changes. Somebody's afraid. High Priestess is looking at romantic proposals. Relationships should serve the higher good. So she's reviewing these to make certain that it's not just a problem. Because these ones were getting into relationship and then bringing domestic violence to it, or they were driving the minds of people into separation with violence. We've got the 9 of Wands here, so you're very resilient, you're very you got your boundaries up. You got your boundaries up. And we've got a Magician, and then we've got denial. Like, it could be that in your environment here, you're rejecting magicians. People who do magic. It could very well be that this hierophant, God, is not allowing people who use magic on others in past the gate. They can't come in the gate. They can't come in the gate. It looks to me like magicians who've been using magic on people are getting denied. They don't get to come in. So you're holding the gate here. You're holding the gate. That's what it is. You got control of the gate and they don't get to come in. Those people who get to come in are the people who have gifts of the soul that benefit themselves and others. Those who wish to be in relationship and then serve the greater good together as a unit. Yeah. So gifts of the soul, those who are patient and waiting on God to say, now is the time, rather than using magic on people and trying to force things to happen. They're getting denied. They don't get to go live in this kingdom. You know, honest people do. Those who told the truth to themselves, those who carry the truth, even though the whole world is lying and lying about them and running lies through them. The truth is in the heart. And so people are in doubt because they're under judgment for using magic on the mental body and in other people's lives to cause domestic violence, to cause disharmony within the home, to break up that foundation and leave the children at risk. They're in big trouble. They're in big trouble. They're in big, big trouble. The way that they set up this environment for people is atrocious. They were talking about abortion earlier too. Lawful murder of babies. They made it, they approved it, made it legal. And they desensitized people. So they drove people into lack, into suffering, into domestic violence. There would be a pregnancy, and then there would be a split, and then this poor woman with no home, no job, no whatever. I mean, they drove people into this, and they said, here's your solution, and then sold it to them. And then they got rid of sensitivity. They demoralized people, took away their impression regarding the value and the sanctity of life. They stripped that out of their heart. They put blockages on people's hearts so that they couldn't feel. And then they drove misery through them and lack. And then they deceitfully would convict people. It's crazy, man. These indulgent people were doing curses, or maybe now they are cursed because you reached your goal. There's a celebration because those within the history need to surrender their need to control you. They need to surrender their need to control parenthood. They gotta stop trying to control families, the health and well-being of families, and the children's foundation. So, they took the money out of the home. They made it impossible for people to have a solid and stable foundation, and then they drove people into domestic violence and misery and lack. Yeah, they got to surrender their need to control parenthood. They obviously aren't very good at it. So you got this Empress reversed here, codependent, miserable, anxiety-ridden SOB. This could be throughout the whole world. These types of people are in grief because you're free, High Priestess, and you're connected with the divine. Live and learn. Live and learn. You've gained experience. You know their ways. You know what they've done for centuries. You got a Chariot here, a victory. You're very strong, capable. They were not able to take your abundance. They really wanted to. They were not successful. Those who are not abundant, limitless beings are going to receive justice, or the law of cause and effect. So the brutalization that they were doing to families and to love in order to extract the wealth that belonged to the family, there's too much debt. I heard them say, there's too much debt here. They took so much, they cannot pay it back. And there's death sentencing being, people are getting the death sentence because of the atrocity and the abundance of it. They can't compensate. You're getting your 10 of Pentacles and your 9 of Pentacles. They were unsuccessful. These indulgent people here were not successful. We've got the Queen of Pentacles out here times 2 and failure in the reverse. They could not cause a failure for this divine feminine who is here to nurture and support those businesses and those practices which bring about the higher good. Triumph. Triumph. Victory. This could be a protectress. The Hierophant is here, looking at those who were disrupting Two of Cups unions, those who have no gratitude in them, those who were bringing about a lack for Two of Cups. Yeah, there's a loss here. Those who are causing loss. They have no gratitude. They're not thankful or grateful for anything. They did their best to cause tension, disharmony, and breakups for families. It's very clear what they were doing. Bullying people, dominating people, driving them into misery and separation and terrible circumstances, hopeless circumstances. They're being rejected now. They're being rejected by your alliances. They're being rejected. They cannot participate in marriages or families or children's lives or anything like that ever again. There's death. They're sick. There is death, and they're gonna go into the traps that they were setting for you. All the traps that they put these people in, yeah, they're getting cast away. They're getting cast away. They're homeless. They're getting kicked out. They cannot live in God's house. They took advantage and betrayed the Most High, who is giving them the gifts that were making their lives worth living, and they were not grateful. They did not allow people to keep the gifts that the Most High was giving them. They brutalized them and then stole it because it wasn't enough what they were given. They decided they needed everybody else's stuff too. So you're leaving home. You're leaving home. You're taking all of your wealth, all of your, you're going to have a life of luxury. You got 10 Pentacles and 9 Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles is out here twice. So they're in regret. It could be that their friends are laughing at them. Yeah, their friends are laughing at them. They fell into a trap. Whoever their friends are, they're laughing. They think it's funny. Whatever this mastery you have, this skill development, whatever skill that you have and you're master at it and you're working so hard, high standards, you're not doing anything half-crocked or whatever. You're bringing about an end to this cycle, and these ones who were trying to undo you, to make you disappear, are in fear. They are not persevering. They can't persevere. There's death. They're not going to persevere. Whatever work you're doing, it's bringing death, and they're afraid. They cannot survive. They won't survive. Divine Mother, in one of her aspects over a year ago, said to be prepared. They won't survive. That's this Queen of Pentacles right here. She did not fail. She has a victory. And they're not going to survive. The High Priestess is here, looking at Prince Charming and his romantic proposals. She's relationships are those people who serve the higher good. They're going to get assistance. They're going to get pulled up out. They're going to get what they deserve. Mercy, charity. You're holding the gate. You're holding the boundary here. And we've got magicians are being denied. Those people who did magic to try to force whatever their desires were on the people, on the land, on the citizenry. They didn't believe in God. They did not want to wait on God's timing. They didn't want to wait for the Most High to say, okay, now you're ready for your gift. They did magic, and they were very, very brutal with it, and they're being denied access. They can't come in. They can't come in. There will be a scout. There will be border patrol. The king of that highest heavenly mountain will see everything. These people are denied access. They're going to be confined. If they're caught, they will be confined. They will lose their freedom. They should just stop. Yeah. See, those who did magic, they're being denied entry into the kingdom of God, and they're losing their freedom. They were doing magic trying to force their way in to the territory of the divine, and now they're losing their freedom. They're being separated from the gift because there's a history here of them strategizing against them, mind reading them, messing with their mind, bullying them, causing other people to bully them, destroying their reputation. They make a trash heap out of the... So they separated the sleeping spirit from the 3D flesh vessel of many people. And then they Agent Smith that spirit, while you were sleeping, getting ready for work, into doing bad things. They used their magic to frame you, to set you up as a villain, so that you would get bullied, so that they could have people dominate you and hurt you in the mental body, in the emotional body, treat you like scum. So maybe you didn't know what was happening, but the spirit, the energy had been manipulated with these tricks that they knew. And your alliances are rejecting them. They're going through withdrawals. Your alliances are like saying, you will not pass this gate. Because this is where for sweet love. These marriages are for sweet love. Yeah, they're sick and they're dying. Because they tried to move against your destiny. You had a vow with each other and with spirit. You got high priestess and hierophant here. They're working together, and it's like they got separated. Whatever they did to this high priestess was absolutely vicious. And now these third-party enemies are afraid and they want to compromise. Oh, let us in, let us in. No, you got a new family tree here. Your vital force, your energy is really good, and you're going to have this wonderful, high-vibing, happy family. Because these ones are getting kicked out. They're getting cast away. They cannot come into your domain, the domain of those who carry halos and high-vibing, bright energy. They got to stay out. They got to stay out of the purpose of the stars, the suns, the high priestess, the hierophant. These mask wearers, this coach who taught these mask wearers how to bring danger to people, are now in danger. They have a promise They gave a promise to cause an accident and to stress people out in their mental body. Those people who were supposed to be coming together into union, very high vibing, beautiful unions, yeah. They're in trouble. They're in danger. They're in danger. You're okay, and you might be dreaming about eternal love, which is scheduled to start very, very soon. And these people don't know what to do because they spent so much, they cursed the minds of people so frequently. They confused people with their magic, with their curses. They caused mental instability, domestic violence, all kinds of things. Oh, they're in trouble. It's all coming back on them. It's all coming back on them. They're not going to persevere. All of that work to bring about death is back on them, and they're afraid because they won't persevere. It's all coming back on them. And of course they want to blame the collective for cursing them, but this is the return of their own effort. Like, this is the garden they grew. They thought these were wise investments, and so they're getting a return on their investment. Their intentions will be their gift, is what the divine stated. So they're only getting what they intended for others. They're getting what they intended for others. So this is the end for them. This is the end of their bloodline. With all of the domestic violence, with the abortions, with they were controlling the happiness, the well-being, the safety, the togetherness, the love, the energy of families, driving it into misery so that they could steal the happiness, the energy, the wealth. And these ones were doing like false death certificates, false wills, false marriage certificates. They would go get a marriage with a sleeper spirit who had been disconnected from the consciousness of the flesh vessel. They would go into the dream state, get a contract, and then they would never show up in the 3D world. They would just drain the energy and the inheritance, and they would brutalize the energy and the emotional body and the intellectual property, man, of those that they had contracted with. Somebody apparently was impotent, so they contracted falsely with a young, beautiful feminine, and then they took all of her ability to feel any kind of pleasure, and they took her ability to ever be a mother. They never gave her a relationship. They never gave her a marriage. They never gave her a supportive spouse. She was supposed to have that. This is, many of you were supposed to have that, and they gained a false contract, and then they pulled the wealth out of it, and then caused the person that they contracted with to not feel, to not have pleasure, to not have stability, to not have wealth, to work and work and work and work and work without support, to deal with these horrible things that happen, like car accidents or homelessness, or any other kind of brutal attack. Maybe there was nobody there to hold the hand, to lean up against, to say it's going to be all right. Nobody was there for these people, these feminines. And they had these other feminines, these empress reverse. Oh, they're pretty. Yes, they're pretty. They smell good. They look great. They got money. So they suck them in, and then they get trapped in these contracts just like the women do. Jezebels around the world are in grief now because you're free and you know their secrets. Priest. Oh wait, this goes up here. There's a priest. Whoa, there's a priest that needs to surrender their need to control families. These people have been running around out there like they're godly people leading families into their successful adventure, and they have been screwing them over with domestic violence, with abortion, and with all this other shit. They have actually legalized and then driven the minds of people into so that they could extract the wealth. The Spirit Divine said a couple days ago that there is a multi-billion-dollar church out there that is not a church at all. It's a pedophile network. So the Empress is in the reverse. She's anxiety ridden. Whatever magic she's doing, it's back on her. And this could be around the world, because you've got overseas expansion and enterprise. So it's like this Empress reverse was working with people throughout the world, and they're all in grief now because this network has to surrender their need to control the health and well-being of families. We've got live and learn. You've got your freedom here. They could not take your fortune. You are free. You know all their secrets. You know how they got their fortune. Look, you're the wife of the Lord, the wife of God, the bride. However that resonates for you. You're in your chariot here. You're victorious. You're making a journey. You're very strong. You're very courageous. And justice is being delivered on these priests and this Empress reversed, this whole network of people that they're not abundant, limitless beings. They don't have anything to offer the world. They're just excellent thieves. And they gained contract or relationship. They pretended as though they were the guide, the holy guide for families, and they were stealing the spiritual inheritance. Once they got the member, the contract, the agreement, they could go in and do whatever they wanted with the wealth that belongs to these families. Justice is being served. And they're sick. There's an old woman who's sick. You've got your 10 of Pentacles, domestic, harmony, inheritance, fruits of your labor, your reward, your life of luxury. These indulgent, arrogant, jealous, envious, expletive, they were not successful. They have no love in them. They're full of hate. They're full of hate. You know, they look real pretty. They're probably very, very beautiful. They've got all the finest clothes. They get a new car every year. They have a beautiful home. But they're also a whore. Lover. They could not successfully take your lover. They weren't successful against the lover. We've got the Queen of Pentacles here, who is the nurturing working parent who provides financially for important businesses or endeavors. They could not cause a failure for this divine feminine or multiple divine feminines. There's a triumph here, a victory. These are the mothers, man. Death, no death. Triumph, no death. They could not cause a failure for this divine feminine and their ability to call the shots. There's no death. They triumphed over death. The death spells that this empress and this priest were sending out, trying to take your reward, trying to take your place, it didn't work. It backfired. And now they're in a misfortune. They're in a misfortune. See, they weren't here to nurture families. They were here to destroy families and siphon the spiritual inheritance out of that family because they had a contract, a spiritual contract, or an agreement, a relationship. They were accepted as the Holy One, as the guide to what is traditional values regarding family. And what they did was they flipped these families. They stole their gratitude. Everything that they were thankful for, they took. And they caused loss. Loved ones, pets, you name it. They caused nothing but heartbreak for these families so that they could steal the spiritual inheritance. Oh, they're mad. They came up against the bride of God, or the Lord, or whatever this means to you. The hierophant is here looking at what these people did to the family unit as a priest, supposedly doing the work of God. Oh yeah, and now they're having a misfortune. They are foot. They're foot. You're leaving home, they're in regret. Their friends are laughing at them because they fell into a trap. They're in despair. They want to take themselves out. God is disowning them. They do not get to be in the kingdom. They misled everybody and destroyed families with domestic violence. And then the children of these families were brutalized. Wow, these people are so freaking bad. There's an 8 of Pentacles here. Skill development, mastery, working with high standards to end this cycle. Somebody is in fear. They're not able to persevere. There's no surprise, or the surprise, they're not able to hide the surprise. They're not surprised. They knew this would happen if anybody found out. If anybody found out that this is what they were doing, this was going to happen. And they knew it. But they misled all of their constituents into thinking that they were winners and they were going to get it, and there was no way that they were going to fail. Got the High Priestess here. She's looking at romantic proposals. These relationships should be between people who are here to serve their own and others' higher good within the community. They're being shown mercy and given charity. They're getting a hand up. And so it's like consolation. So they're not praying. They're not in sorrow. Things are good. They're getting mercy. They have no reason to suffer. There won't be any suffering. They're not being rejected. they're getting mercy because they serve the higher good. They've got goals for love, for family, for creating a family tree, for growing the family foundation and structure, for improving together to build something beautiful that will benefit not only themselves but the community, you know, make the world a more successful place. You've got your boundaries firm here, the 9 of Wands. You're holding that firm. There is so you're like you're up there on the top of the mountain. You're scoping things out. You can see what's going on very clearly. And these magicians who've been doing magic over the collective are not welcome in God's kingdom. Those people who are doing magic, trying to force themselves into a successful state, they're being denied. They're losing their freedom. Why? Because they screwed with the thoughts and the minds of everybody. These foes, they're going to prison. They were an enemy of everybody. They were fighting for other people's gifts that the Most High bestowed upon them. They were going and taking out everybody that the Most High had blessed, and they were destroying their lives. Your consistency being loving, having high morals, high values, remaining loyal to the truth. It's getting you invited to the wedding, it looks like. There is a reunion and there is a wedding. There's an old woman getting the message. They're sick. They might have gotten some kind of diagnosis from the doctor. They had hope of becoming a young woman. They had hope of age regressing. They had hope of taking the place of this high priestess, Queen of Pentacles. This is a pleasure seeker who was operating falsely and making people sick. A pleasure seeker offered the service of giving ill health to people, false ill health, using magic to make people sick. This wife is faithful to the Lord. Always was. There's an enemy. Your enemies are going to the merchant, or there could be whoever these enemies are. This Empress reversed. These indulgent feminines and their masculine soul priest leaders or whatever. They owe the merchant. They're going on a journey. They're going on a journey, or you're going on a journey because you have your wings. You've gained your wings. You have been chosen. You get to move on. And all these other ones, they don't get to go. It's like there's a lot of conversation here. People are waiting. Waiting on a friend. It could be that maybe they're waiting for your arrival. There could be some friends here that are waiting for the ship. This thief, this prideful thief, is sad. It's like they've lost their spouse. Maybe you are a scholar of love, a child, the divine and innocent. You are love. You are joy. This is what you're here to bring. And these ones were making everybody, driving everybody into misery and suffering. So you're happy. You've got a house here and money, sweetheart. And this servant who is moving against you is sighing. They're very upset. You're getting what it is you deserve. Everybody's getting what they deserve. That's what he who has all authority stated to me. Well, I've been here a couple years, so it must have been a year before that, like 2.5 years ago, maybe. He spoke, and his voice reverberated through my soul, man. I thought I was going to come out of my body. It was so frightening. But he said in like a booming voice, only he has ever sounded like that. I mean, it's amazing, his energy. And he said that everybody was going to get what they deserved. He had been listening to what was happening to me for some time. It was horrendous. And it's so beautifully quiet. They're still there, but they're getting more and more quiet as they lose their gifts or as they transition. They're getting kicked out of the mental body of the people. I heard somebody say that nobody was answering. It's like they were reaching out telepathically, but nobody was responding. And somebody was told, whether it was that person or not, somebody was told that they were a karmic now. So they were no longer chosen. They abused their privileges, they abused their gifts, they utilized their abilities to hurt people. And they thought it was funny, man. I'm God. They have all this power over people who don't know it any better. We got the Oracle here. They got to surrender their need to control the minds and the messaging that the God-ordained spouses, this family coming together, they got to stop controlling the mind and the connection of these families and God. They were really messing up with that, with their false telepathic influence. They were intervening, interfering, listening in on the most personal prayers of a person that were supposed to go directly to God, and then they were giving false answers or whatever. You know, saying that God wanted people to go unalive someone, you know, and this was kind of what they were doing. They would drive people into domestic violence. They would drive people into believing that their children were demons. They would drive people into doing horrible things, like driving their whole family into the freaking ocean and drowning them. And they would say they were God, telling them to do it. So we've got an Empress reversed energy here, and it's an enterprise, so it's overseas. This is a network of people. This is this church, whatever this church is, this priest, this network is in grief because you are free. They have to surrender their need to control the minds and the connections with God. They are out, man, because they've been using prayers in a bad way, the scripture in a bad way, and they've been coupling it with dark magic to tear people up. You know what they have been doing, and there's no fortune here. There's no fortune. They did not get your fortune. You've got grief. And why? Because you took care of yourself. They're challenged because you took care. There's these feral people who cannot manage their own self. They're just too dark, too evil. They betrayed God. That was one of the first things I heard when the shift started happening a few years back. God was so upset about this betrayal. They had severed the minds. They had like separated people from their spirit self, and they had shut their minds off, like wrapped their crown and then did magic on it so that they could not receive messaging from the Most High. They were dressing up in the energy of, and then pretending that they were, and then they were doing crap things by agent smithing the spirit of a person in the astral realm, and then doing things as them so that God would see them as a bad person. So much deception. You've got a victory here. You're in your chariot. You're moving forward. You're very strong and you're focused. These people are not limitless, abundant beings. They could not take your abundance. They're under justice. Justice is being served. Justice is being served for all of the trauma bonds that they have done to people, for all of the trauma that they have spewed out into the world. For the heartbreak, the shattering, the soul crushing. Abuse. You're getting your 10 of Pentacles, you're getting your 9 of Pentacles. Those who were overindulging on your suffering were unsuccessful. They don't have any love in them at all. There is a lover here who is jealous. They were jealous of your love. They were jealous because you're a being of love, and they tried to strip love completely out of your life. Anything and everything that could possibly bring you joy or pleasure, they wanted it gone. But they could not cause you a failure. You did not die. You were victorious over their efforts. And there are 2 Queen of Pentacles here. Or you just doubled up in your strength and capacity. Maybe the Most High has said, you're going to get double your portion. Or maybe you have a protectress or a divine mother figure who will be your guide. Take it as it resonates. These priests, their job, their duty was they were serving some black hole soul, and they were feeding people to it. Empath in the reverse, they don't have any gratitude. They're not grateful for anything. They're suffering a loss. They don't care about anybody, and they're suffering a misfortune. Loss and misfortune is their thing. The hierophant is like laying it out on this cult leader who's been feeding harmonious unions to this as a snack. They've been snacking on their suffering. While spreading conspiracy theories, while saying that they were this or they were that, they were a brutalizer, they were a murderer, they were a drug addict, they were this, they were that. It's all a program. Cyberware and magic. What? Scripture read backwards. I don't know how they do that kind of crap. They were shutting the hearts down of people, desensitizing people. They were stripping love and one's own sense of purpose and value. They made everybody believe that life was worth nothing more than simply to survive. It was so horrible. You just had to get through the freaking day so that you could do it again. That was their pleasure point. And they did it all over the world, man. All over the freaking world. So you're leaving now. You're leaving. God has chosen you. He sees the truth of these priests and their whole billion-dollar network and what they've been doing to families, how they've been doing it to families. You're leaving. They're in regret. They have failed. Their friends are laughing at them. They fell into a trap. They are in despair because what? They can't stop this influencer, or because they were a bad influence in the world. And it's seen very, very clearly that they were snacking on the energy, this vampire. And now they're all triggered because they got discovered. So your hard work, or the hard work of the divine, we got a high priestess and a hierophant here, is bringing about death or an end to this cycle. They are in fear. They're not going to persevere through this, and it's not going to be a surprise. They knew that if anybody found out what they were doing, that this was going to happen. They knew it. Freaking feral. They have no sense of honor. They have no sense of duty. They're nasty, brutalizing. The furthest thing away from God you could get. They've been stealing the happiness and the well-being of others and then prancing around like they are so holy. The high priestess is here. There is, she's checking out what? Romantic proposals. These relationships need to serve the higher good for the community. They will be given charity, and they will not have any reason to despair. All you gotta do is be sincere, man. Be love. Wait on God's timing. God knows when you are in alignment for the gift or the reward. He knows when your soul has been properly fired in the flame or whatever, the potter's clay, right? He knows when you're ready. But these people decided that they knew better. They betrayed God. Yeah. So you're not a vampire. If you're not a vampire and you did not feast on the suffering or the destruction of anybody, then you don't have any reason to be sorrowful. You're going to get mercy. Yeah, if you were not a vampire feasting on people, then you will be given mercy. There's a gatekeeper here, the magician that was doing magic on people to F up their worlds. They're being denied access. They are losing their freedom. We have a scout. You have reached your goals. You are at the peak of that mountain, and you did the impossible. I heard the curator say it himself. He put some people on such a difficult life path that they all thought that it was impossible for you to ever make it out. But you did. And you're a high priestess and a hierophant. We've got the Lord and the wife of the Lord here. However that works for you. And you got a foe who is messing with the thoughts of people's mental body, and they're going to prison because they were fighting you for your gifts. And this isn't a competition. This is an outright brutalization with technologies and information and secrets that the average person had no idea of and no way to defend against it. They were told that they were depressed. They were told that it was panic attacks. They were told that it was a heart issue. They were told that it was an aneurysm. They weren't told that it was done by magic. They weren't told that there were vampiric entities out there projecting, astral traveling, coming in, taking a little sip off your misery. We got an announcement. So the soldier was trying to destroy you and remove you from your gifts. This is being announced. It's announced. It's being aired. They were love bombing and gaslighting people in order to gain a status of privilege. Lying through their teeth so that they could cause this in your life. So there's a tinfoil hat, there's conspiracies. They're trying to like muck the waters, or what? Make the waters murky. They're trying to put out falsehoods and misperceptions. They're trying to say, don't you dare talk about that. And they're getting angry because they don't have control of your mental body anymore. The Most High is freeing the people from the bondage of the mental body. He's restored the connections that they're and the messaging that they're supposed to receive, not these manipulations. So now you've got this shadow demon that's triggered, because the unicorn, those who are special, those who have gifts, the chosen ones, those who are just very unique and like priceless. You're so valuable. You're priceless, and you're getting the money back. I mean the land back. You're getting the land back. And you're telling this cult leader simp to go F themselves. You're a legend. You're a legend. You're a legend. You're a legend. And this narcissist who does the very least to get the most knows it. You've got billionaire status. Your lifetime story has been broadcast throughout the galaxy. It's called Earthwoman. We got a fashion witch troll here, listening to everything you say so that they can try to repeat it exactly and then claim that it was their story or whatever. So, we got red flags. We got red flags. They're being warned by a starseed to stay in your own lane. Don't get on the path. Stop effing around with billionaire status, specialty, unicorn, freaking directly connected to God, oracles who care about family, who care about children, who care about themselves. For them, it's not about money. It's not about the biggest house or the newest, fanciest car. It's not about gloating and showing everybody how important you are. These people carry their value inside. They may appear very meek and mild on the outside, living a very simple life. And that is why they get the 10 of Pentacles and the 9 of Pentacles. That is why these two Queens of Pentacles are right here holding the purse. Because they're all in this High Priestess energy, and they know the heart of God, or God knows their heart. They're intimately connected. So these vampiric entities called priests have been complaining that a while back they were complaining that there was trouble in the garden, but now their garden if it ever was theirs, it has been occupied by someone else, by God himself, and they don't get to stay there. There's too much debt. We're at 1 minute and 26 seconds, going on 27 minutes. So we're almost at an hour and a half. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this message here. I hope that this clarifies something that you intuitively knew. It sounds to me like the chosen ones have been recognized. And it also sounds to me that this priest and this Empress reversed and other people who've been doing shady, magical stuff, trying to destroy others and lift them own selves up while trying to prove to God how bad humans are and trying to prove to God how precious they are, they completely the betrayal is so big, it's so extreme, it's so vile. I'll see you on the next one, everybody. Bye.